Hello, 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 everyone. This is Nick Ottinger with Team Conti Sim Performance. Take you guys for a couple qualifying laps at a pretty easy track to get some efficiency, out of your momentum-based side of making lap time. So, for here, it's just like Daytona. You're building your momentum. You're just building how you can actually create that momentum for your second lap. Lucky for Xfinity, we have 2 laps of qualifying procedure, so you can do 1 or 2 laps, but this first lap is a complete throwaway. You do not have as much momentum built up, really getting off pit road to even make it worthwhile for your first lap to be better than your second. It's not exactly like Daytona and Talladega, where it's a longer duration of a lap and you have more momentum built up. So, but yeah, kind of give you guys a little lay of the land here. This time lap that you see on the screen on the bottom left is one that I used to cut the apron, to the apron on the dog leg in the front stretch. So I'm going to do a comparison against that, show you guys where exactly I'm losing a little bit of time, and that's to give you guys a couple more laps showcasing what I can do with it. So this is just going to be hugging the line, making sure it has some good momentum built, and you really use that ability where I'm not cutting to that apron and above it in the dog leg, but make sure my rest of my laps can have the momentum I need to build. So you can tell I closed that gap that I lost into 1 just by having all the momentum from that point on. So it's gonna be a pretty close lap here, pretty efficient, but gonna be a couple ways to kind of approach it. So now I'm gonna reset here, give you guys the same type of outlook, just kind of cutting the actual dog leg, straight lining as much as possible without actually hitting the actual bank and transfer too hard. So because when you do that, you're really kind of prone to just popping the left front splitter in that bank and transition really far off the ground. So it's not that it's initial hits the worrisome part, it's the rebound effect that you get from the shock trying to recover with it as well. So just something to look at, give you guys a couple of perspectives here on how you can kind of approach qualifying. I think either way is just advantageous to what you're comfortable with as a driver. So and here obviously qualifying matters quite a lot, but to the same point, you do have a lot of drafting efforts to kind of work with teammates, your fellow teammates and everything like that. So again, just build our momentum up, for this first lap. Use the high line in 3 and 4. Personally, I've never been one that wants to go to the wall at super speedways. I always stay about a half a lane and a lane off, just so I'm not getting any wall, drag efficiencies, everything like that. But that's just my personal opinion on it. So showcase you guys this lap, cut this dog leg at the start finish line, straight line as much as possible. See when they have an aggressive bounce off that banking transition, from the flat to the banking. Gonna have a pretty similar lap as we did last time. But you see we didn't have any pull that we had, not cutting it the first time. So it's really just driver preference, what you really want to do. I mean, there's no best way to do it, just most efficient, what you're comfortable with. So I had a pretty good 3 and 4 that time. Ultimately, just not putting my left side right on this, meeting point between the apron and the banking. So, but yeah, that's just a couple qualifying laps at Atlanta. Again, not too difficult, wide open, obviously. And some scenarios too, just to think about. Give you guys this just a replay on this one. Just to think about is how this track will widen out, obviously, with in the pack, draft fast, with other cars, you're racing around and everything like that. I think personally this is even more of a advantageous track to work with your teammates, because it just takes that much, that much effort to kind of propel your line forward. And if you guys have similar cars, similar capability, timing your pushes correctly, and not just not just pushing to push. You know, you got to time them correctly to keep momentum, conserve your engine temp, push when others are getting hot, stuff like that. So pretty straightforward how you had at Daytona. Nothing too special or anything like that. So once this lap finishes, we'll kind of see how this week goes with everyone. But easy enough, right? You have a lot of bumps in 3 and 4, but you just kind of cut this dog leg, and regardless of which you prefer, whichever direction you prefer as far as your, cutting the actual dog leg to start your money lap, or just staying above this whole process of, not meeting the apron, and the bank and transition, I would just do what you guys are comfortable with. The fact of the matter is, a lot of it's dependent on wind, like your wind speed and direction it's coming from anytime you go out in your qualifying session. So um, you can have a pole winning car and you can still qualify dead last just because of that wind. But ultimately, I think we'll have a good week here in Atlanta. Looking forward to seeing how our progress goes and closing out season 3 with a effective effective week for everyone. So appreciate you guys working with Team Conti Sim Performance, and we will catch you guys in Atlanta.